Good morning. All right, let's hop into it. All right. So you should have your journal sheet ready. And go ahead and put today's date. Today's Thursday, July 9th. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the economic calendar real quick. So we had some pre-market data at 5:30. In terms of initial jobless claims, we came in lower than what was forecast. Continuing jobless claims, still came in a little bit lower than what was forecast. And then the average came in also lower over a 4-week average. Uh, we do have data dropping at 7 for existing home sales. So we will go ahead and plot that on the chart. Let's go ahead and put that on this one real quick. Yeah, I think I'm getting my rhythm. No, I want it on the 1 hour. Trying to get a better sense for rhythm so that I don't forget certain things. So 7 o'clock, 7, it's existing home sales, but and then I usually like to start over on SPY and then work my way over. So let's do that. I wanted you to see something. Oh yeah, look at this. On the 1 hour, y'all, we had these were the parameters we were working with on QQQ, and there was a gap up here, and we were over here in this zone yesterday on QQQ, and I remember thinking, like, especially when we were in this downward spiral here, anticipating more downside. Look at how we decided to buy up off of this 300% level here. Um, and I'm like, I wonder if we're gonna touch this gap. And so we did pre-market. Okay, so very interesting. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna have to. My little friend Bruno, we woke up early this morning, and I'm gonna have to have a little chat with him. But let's just roll through. I like what I'm seeing here in terms of this. Okay, at some point, we did open below the lot here, but it looks like pre-market we're above that. Okay, so that's good to know. Just looking for something around the monthly play pattern. On the weekly, looks like even though we had a little bit of downside, we are deciding to bounce off of the 4. This is the 8. And then we're starting to go down to the daily. The indicator does track the above, the previously high, previously low for us. Let's see here. It almost does line up with the previous day here. It's going to go to the 4 hour. And I think, okay, so I'm going to come back to this 1 hour, to this 4 hour here. It looks like we're recovering and wanting more upside. On the 1 hour, we are in a bearish block, so I'm going to continue to keep this. If we break above, then we can look for calls to the upside. 300% 1 hour. Oh yeah, so this, I'm going to move this up because I'm noticing that as long as it gets invalidated, we set the new levels. I'm going to go ahead and delete this here, unless this lines up with the weekly high. Let me just double check it. It still is the weekly high, so we might have a little bit of a reversal there. Let's go ahead and keep it. We'll keep an eye on it. Oh, you know what it is? This was a previous peak high, so let's just see how it looks on the lower time frame. We did have let me see when did this fire. This was pre-market. On the 1 hour, we did have a fire to the downside, and then we had a gap up. this is the stop loss for puts here. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that yesterday it looks like we were kind of in a little bit of consolidation. We never really had a trend, and I'm starting to feel like this happened last week too, where okay, so nothing too market here. 15 minute. I usually like to see something on the 15 minute. We never really quite satisfied push to the downside yesterday. Um, meaning, like, when I say satisfy up to 100%, we had that 50% reversal that happens on every time frame. Um, let's just go ahead and keep it on that, but on the 1 hour, we did satisfy it here, but this was from pre-market as well. This was from post-market from the day before. And then we just kind of stayed in the range, but on the 1 hour, maybe we should keep it on the 1 hour. Let's keep this on the 1 hour just so and I do have the big monitor, but I want to see because we might test these stop losses. But if we break out of this range, we might continue to get more upside. Okay, so just be prepared to play both sides, but at the same time, be willing to also wait until 7 for the data to drop. And we also, I want to see something here. It looks like we are responding positively to the FOMC minutes from yesterday as well too. That were dropped. The minutes were dropped. So that gives institutions a chance to look at. And here we go. Like I'm just looking for quick things like this. So even though we were bearish, we did bounce off of this floor here. Let's see. Weekly, we can keep this if we get too crowded. I'll just delete it. But this is the week high. Let's see. Okay. Starting to get a little crowded here, but we did satisfy up to 200% on calls, and then kind of came back into this choppy range area. We are opening, so we had a little bit of downside, we covered, and then looks like we gapped up on the 4 hour. Let me show you here. On the 4 hour, we're breaking above the 200 moving average, and like I said, this is so cool to see. But even on the 1 hour, every time my computer does this, it might shut off on me. Let me just make sure. So, and we did fill this gap that we had that formed during pre-market hours a couple days back. So it looks like we are feeling pretty bullish here. We do have prep to the upside on the 4 hour as well. And in terms of previous we had, we might come back and retest this level before we get more upside, but that's kind of what we're doing there. On this time frame, we are below the 200 moving average. Starting to see a little bit of rejection off of the 200 here, but we're kind of like in between the 8, this is the 8 and the 4 and the VWAP here. We do have a little bit of a VWAP gap, so it can get a little bit tricky. These are pretty strong resistance levels, these 200 moving averages, but for the most part, we're bullish, right? So even though we did satisfy push of the downside from the day before, um, in post-market hours or whatever, after market hours. And what I wanted to say was, yeah, we did satisfy this here. But we're starting to have steps to the upside. And so if we can break above this, we'll continue to have more upside. Let me just check the 1 day, just make sure see what's happening. Just double check. I don't like how my computer's lighting. I pressed for the day, like, when I said day, so it's just now catching up. Mm, yeah. They're just kind of really stuck in me. For the most part, I've prepped to the downside on the daily, but um, and I like to, I have my favorite traders that I watch on social media and stuff like that. They would say this is a difficult time to trade. I would agree. I feel like this is a little bit more volatile than I've seen. Um, so I think it's just me trying to calm me down a little bit. And if it looks like there's a lot going on, there really is a lot going on, and that's why we have the three options. We'll look for something that gives us a cleaner entry. Here we're starting to build a base to the upside um, above this gap. But that being said, this, I don't know if you saw the difference between the other gap and this one, but this one is not quite taken care of. I remember the last time we saw this, you know, we can swing to one direction and then swing to the other. So QQQ is not something I would really want to. Another thing is when it's 15 minutes, when it comes up on the 15-minute pre-market, I really like it because it does tend to pay out. So in terms of probabilities, I would probably give it like a B minus, just because. Let me just check really quickly here to see. Okay, yeah. Mm, 4 hours. Okay. We're already rejecting off of that 50% of that possible encroachment level. Um, we are above the VWAP here and above the 200 moving averages, and the EMAs here, showing that we want to upside a little bit of rejection here. But when this fills, we can have a little bit more downside. Um, I'm just going to make sure the levels that I have marked. Um, look for a block. I think if I were to set some levels, I think I would do it like this. Make it a little bit trickier, but if we break above here, you can tell there's a base above here, then we will have more upside. And then if we come back down below here, I'm just going to center it off of this gap. We do have a base of upside there. And then let's go over. So in terms of probabilities right now, this one is a cleaner setup because you see that we're in a bearish block on the 1 hour. Um, Now IWM is the one that has a 1 day block that we need to watch, right? So I'm gonna show you that is bullish. And yesterday we went into that bullish territory. We went deep into that bullish territory. I'm gonna show you real quick, but I always just like to eyeball this. Right now we're here, we're somewhere around here, and this is a 3 month 300% level. You can see it right here. And usually what I'm noticing is anytime we come below here, we experience anywhere from a $2 to $6 drop. First touch is usually like a $6 drop. So if you come back into that level, you might have a little bit more downside. So here. And I'm doing good on time. For the month, we still have this level up here. This is a very healthy retest right here that we have for the month. healthy retest. It's barely bouncing off of this 4. Let's see. We are still bullish. Um, I would anticipate like a weekly high type entry. We tested off of this um, 8 EMA. Beautiful bounce off of there. Um, you know what, there's stuff I can work on for the weekend, and I just want to experiment with what it means to have alerts for when we touch the weekly EMA. I think this is the second time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially the 8, because I don't think I can track it on my with the indicators the way I have it set up now. But that's something I can work on over the weekend. But this is an important level. And let's see here. On the daily, we did open below 94. We did open below this 8 EMA. So usually when I see that, that means that we want a little bit more downside. And we do have a gap down here. But yeah, we have a gap down here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know what happened? No. IWM. Yeah, here we go. It's a weak block. And interesting. If I remember correctly, we did have um, a 1 day block to the upside, and it looks like it might have gotten validated. Yeah, because here we did have a 1 day block, and it looks like it got invalidated. Interesting, but hmm. So 4 hour, I'm gonna leave this here. If it invalidates this zone, then but it looks like we are feeling bullish and we're wanting to break to the upside because we did kind of look like we're engaging with this VWAP right here, and we're attempting to bounce. This is an 8 right here, so if we continue to hold above this 8, we're going to try to look for more upside and just invalidate this zone. But if we, stay in this range, just be careful here. If we come back down here, we can, I was willing to test some puts below this level at some point in time. So if we start to break below here again, then we can have more downside. But right now it's feeling bullish based off of the 4 hour. On the 1 hour, we have pre-market, we had a gap up, but it looks like it got satisfied, right? So we had a gap up and then it came down to almost 50% of that consequent encroachment, which lines up with that 4 hour foot level. I love how that works, but we continue to stay to the upside and try to move up. We can retest these put levels, or if we break above here, yeah, see you guys, we should have a 1 day block here. And I think what happened, if I'm not mistaken, let me just try to. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. See, I wasn't going crazy. This is the 1 day block, and so we are in this zone here, and it looks like we almost wanted to invalidate it, but we recovered beautifully. We're buying up all of the orders that are in the orders block, and this happens in the lower time frames too, right? So, and we are building off of this 300% level. We decided to buy up off of that level. We didn't break below and have more downside. So, let me just, I'm gonna have to go check on doing that. So with that being said, it looks like we're on this side of things. So yeah, If we break above here, you can start to entertain some calls and then continue to the upside. But on the lower time frame, we do have a pesky kind of like zone of bearish. Yeah, we have a pesky 4-hour zone that once we invalidate this, um, then you can start to look for calls to the upside. Just bear that in mind. Ooh, we also have, I remember seeing these gaps appear too in IWM, and so it looks like we're going to try to hit that today, along with what's happening on QQQ. QQQ has already kind of hit those gaps that were up here, and so we might see that happen with IWM as well. It's even started. All right, I'm going to take a little break, and I will be right back. Yeah, I hope you guys have been able to hear me. StreamYard sometimes is a little bit finicky when it comes to the sound, but I hope you guys were able to hear me. I will be right back. Okay, hopefully you were able to see where I placed the levels and you just kind of have an understanding of why I set the stuff up the way that I did. I'll be right back. My dress is too long. All right, I'm back. There's a lot going on, y'all. But you know what? I'm going to tell you guys the same thing I'm going to tell myself. We're 5 minutes out from open. Whatever we have going on in the background, we need to park it. And when we're here to trade, we are here to trade. Okay? And we will, whatever is waiting for us on the other side will still be there. Rest assured. Okay? So let's just concentrate on what we have before us. You start to see a little bit of that invalidation of this zone here. Trying to break to the upside, but I love to see how we try to break above, failed, sold off at this level, and then we're just continuing to hold at this level. And this is part of the reason why I like to have the live recordings too, not just the back testing on TradingView, because you can see how it's holding this level. Oh, and yeah, so we're starting to invalidate. There we go. we're starting to invalidate. Now that being said, I'm just going to be careful here. You know, they could try to test stop losses here before we have a little bit more downside, but let's just take that responsibility. I need to send out a text message real quick. Oh. talking about parking stuff. We're in the market hours, and I had to make a quick voicemail because I'm usually a typer. I was a typer. Here we go. So we have a little bit of rejection, but I still anticipate a little bit of a gap fill um, on QQQ. Could be wrong. Oh, the rationale could be that, see how we're engaging with that 50% of that gap? If we break below here, we might have a little bit more downside. Just that tricky space. Now, IWM is lining up with that 1 day breakout, and let me see what's happening here. I'm only done. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, okay. So we do have a base for upside here on IWM. Oh, they decided to fill these gaps that are up above that we were talking about. But the only thing is, you don't want to chase in those first 5 minutes, at least not with Robinhood, because you're just specific to limit orders and it can't keep taking energy. But we have these major 200 moving averages here that are kind of like, they're ceilings. So, we have a little bit of rejection here. But if we can continue to break, this is the 1 day block here. If we continue to break above here in the 200, then we can look for more upside. Okay. Um, and I just, like, Bruno was barking. I have other stuff going on. So let's just try to be patient here. Um, I would probably, the way things are looking right now with this, I would entertain some puts to the downside on QQQ. Let's see. And it looks like we're gunning for that gap fill. Let's just wait for a little bit more confirmation of some closes below here. We do have good open interest on QQQ. For some puts down here. So let's just see how it, I'd like to see a little bit more confirmation for some puts down here. Closes below here. Looks like we're buying up off of VWAP though. Looks like we're revalidating the buy zone. We're still in the first 5 minutes of the market open. We're clearly buying up this level here. And in terms of pre-market, they would go up to here to satisfy the 100% level, but we're buying up VWAP here. We also have buyers stepping in here on SPY. Looks like we're going to go for that 100% level on QQQ. We're going to break above that. So these are satisfying those pre-market levels. We're breaking above this call area. We're at that 50% encroachment level. Looks like they're going to try to hit that 100%. They're also satisfying this gap from here on IWM. We have buyers stepping in here off of previous day high, and we also have them satisfying somewhat of this gap here. Let's see here. The other thing I wanted to look for, so we just hit 100%. You can see a little bit of taking profit. Looks like they're going to go for gap fill. We just had the first 5-minute candle close. But yeah, this is just a good reminder when we have the 15-minute big close and we had this confirmation for upside. This would have been a good move to the upside here. And we have buyers across the board. So we did satisfy that cap on QQQ. Let's see if we continue to want to build to the upside. Usually when we might retest this 100% level and this consequent encroachment and then continue to build to the upside, but like it says here, we might come up. But we had a little bit of rejection once these gaps were filled here. We sold. We sold right back off of this 1-day buying block area. That we're still holding steady above this one. Here we go. So really nice. Build to the upside here. Beautiful buy off of this V-Rock. We have another breakout happening to the upside here on the QQQ. Looks like they're going to try to, at least on the 1 hour, try to build above that 200 moving average. It's about to lower, so you guys can see that. And looks like we'll deal with this gap down here on another day. IWM has a little bit of a sell-off that's happening here. But otherwise, all three ETFs are moving to the upside. You can see very well here on the 1 hour that we're buying off of the previous day high. And this is the 8 off of the 1 hour. So we don't quite have, let's see what's going on with the 5-minute. So we have a breakout happening here. Yeesh. I'm kind of watching to see what happens here because I see the rejection off of the 8, off of the 200, and QQQ is continuing to build to the upside. We'll see in the next minute here if they want to have a 5-minute confirmation to the upside here. Let's get those. So yeah, we're continuing to the upside on the smaller time frame on the 3-minute. And we also have to have when we spoke about this breakout zone on the 3-minute. So it looks like we have a little bit more upside here. Ooh, let's see what it does with this 300% level. Might have a tiny bit of pullback here. Not as strong as if we were on those really high time frames, but let's see what happens on IWM. We are rejecting this 200 moving average here, and it looks like we're starting to break below this previous day high. But if we invalidate this zone right here on IWM, okay. So this was supposed to be the 1-day buying block where we break out of this and then we have way more downside, but they're coming back into that buying block. Remember we did have a 4-hour, I believe, a 4-hour block for puts in here. Let's just see what it does here. Let's see if it buys up this VWAP zone. I do expect a little bit of, this is like a ceiling here, so it's just kind of like a bouncing ceiling. So it's just kind of, let's see what does there. We have a lot of sell-off here. IWM. Oh, there we go. We bought up that VWAP. There we go. And so if we get buyers stepping back in here above previously high, there we go. And then we're breaking up, but we're invalidating that bearish zone again. Yeah, we're invalidating that bearish zone. We're going to cut here 300% here on this, on QQQ. We had a strong sell-off here. This is the key level right here on IWM, and either the trade we have to still do some type of invalidation here. We do have a VWAP gap here. Looks like QQQ is just roaring to the upside, and it is wanting to push that 300% level. Here we do have buyers stepping in off of that previously high. We're feeling very good. We're going to start to engage with the stop loss from pre-market here. We might have a little bit of resistance here. SPY. But these could also be seen as take profit levels. Buyers are definitely in control. The buyers are regaining their momentum here, trying to build a base above this 200 moving average here. You can see just that tiny little rejection here, or like taking profit at the 300% level. So let's just see if they continue to build to the upside here. There's always a pullback, doesn't matter which time frame there is, at the 300% level. Actually, this one is close to the 300% level. The 300% level is just right above this one-day buying block, but I feel like if we break above here, we're going to have a little bit of a strong impulse to the upside as well, even though we have this 200 moving average. But they're trying to see next 10 seconds close above this 200, and then from there, just have like a snowball effect to the upside. So in the next 2 seconds, if they can stay above that 200 right there, yeah, they did a good job there. So it's like a little bit more upside. Let's see. And then at the close of this 15 minute here on IWM, they just continue to break around the upside. So you might get some confirmation here on the 15 minute for some upside. I would just be careful if it's a 15 minute, because there's going to be a pullback, and then wait for entry to the upside on this, if you get a 15 minute alert on this side of things. So yeah, beautiful. Play right up to 300% more. I was kind of feeling bearish right here, but I didn't wait for candle closes below the VWAP. But we did have the pre-market indication that we were getting bullish, right? Getting upside on QQQ. QQQ is starting to build more buyers and more of a base above this buy zone. Let's see, and above on the 1 hour, above the 200 moving averages. So we're trying to flip to the upside. I'm about to take the stop losses here. SPY. Oh, okay, we just crossed over the first 15 minutes. And so, candle, the first 15-minute candle. I'm keeping this one on the 1 hour because I wanted to see what happens when we hit these stop loss areas on a higher time frame. We're rejecting off that same exact level again right here where we will break to the upside for calls. But we're probably going to retest the 200 moving average and then try to push further up to the upside. And we are buying really nice and clean off of this 8 moving average here. We do have data at 7 for existing home sales. Try to make this bigger so you can kind of see what I'm seeing on the 15. So we're going up into the stop loss level for put. Okay. We are shorting the bears, or we are, buyers are in control right now. I'm just watching to see what happens with this level here. On the 1 hour, we are bullish though. We did have prep from daily toward the upside. So we might have like a 1 hour. Oh, but we haven't built a base or anything like that yet. So we are bullish on QQQ. A little bit of a pullback here on the 1 hour. If I see on the 1 hour, this is a healthy pullback to respond to that 200 moving average. So I anticipate either an attempt to bounce off of here, continue to build a base off of here, and then continue for more upside. So this is just healthy. I always think of these like trampolines, but also if you were jumping with your head up into trampoline, like you would kind of like whoop, and then get a little bit of pullback. So that's perfectly fine and normal there. We do have this gap, but the thing about the gap is we're going to continue to build to the upside, or if we build in here and break below, we're going to re-enter into this 4-hour block that has some downside and then look for a gap fill down here. So let's just pay attention to that. I also like that we are rejecting off of it's right off of that 300, okay? I like that we just pull back. You see that on every time frame. Gonna test the fours here, the 4 EMA, because we bought up off of that level. Let's see if it's able to recover. This would be considered a retest of this higher time frame zone where we're going to see buyers are going to step back in. You know, buyers stepping in and buying in off of this level. You can see that buyers we have a little bit of buyers, but we are bearish, but we still maintain above this 200 here. Yeah, and we have that wick to the upside where buyers are aggressively stepping in and buying off of IWM. checking this first stop loss here. Wait. You did what? I'm gonna switch of planes in the UK on the return to Washington. Okay, that's nice. Alright, so it looks like we're building a nice strong wick here. Looks like we're going to try to attempt to get some calls to the upside here, breaking out of this 1 day buying block. So I anticipate we're going to have a lot of strong good we just crossed over that 1 day buying zone. Yeah, this is about to skyrocket right here. We have QQQ sharing in that sentiment. A little bit of resistance here at the 200 moving average. And we also have that 300% level that we might have a pullback to. You can continue looking at right now. There's this skyrocketing. Let's see where it is. So there's nothing above here on the 1 hour. Beautiful bar. There we go. Beautiful guys. Okay. So beautiful. Okay. They're going for this 300% level here for the 3 months. SPY is holding its ground here. I think it's going to try to break above this. There's bears here. This is the stop loss for bears. So you might have bears kind of, buy down. But it's holding it. So yeah, we just had that breakthrough. All three are moving to the upside. Buyers are definitely in control. We have data in 7 minutes. Existing home sales. There's that pullback in response to that 200 moving average. A little bit of a pullback. Let me show you on the 1 day. On the 1 day, so this is the one for buying block, but we came back deep into that level. Like we have satisfied all the orders that we wanted to. Strong buyers stepping in here. A little tiny bit of rejection here to this 8, but the key here is going to be to try to move off of the 8. We did have prep to the downside, but let's just see what it does with the 8 here. Let's just see that resist, that little pullback. This is from the daily. It's engaging with the 8, and then that's why I was saying like I wanted to see if I can just build something in. What time is it? Oh, 5 minutes till we get some data. Build something in to just kind of help me my eyes and ears to that level. I'm gonna write it down because I'll probably work on it over the weekend. So 1 day, 8 p.m. QQQ is trying to go for those 2 highs. SPY is also it's about to invalidate the puts. The people that were in puts pre-market, they were feeling bearish on SPY. They're about to get invalidated. This is the same way how we have this 300% level here, on a 3-month level. This is the 300% level of across a 3-month period. So I'm gonna wait for the data to drop. I mean, if I was fearless, your fearless leader, I'd be like, wow, we're at this 1-day level. We already had a strong buy up to the upside. We're gonna buy and hold till the end of the day. But I just want to see what it does with the data. Um, Usually, so when we have the top of the hour, we usually have a pullback into VWAP. So let me put you on the 1 hour here so we can have a better idea of what we're looking at. Like in 3 minutes, along with data as well. So here you can see where it's trying to decide if we want to build a base above this 200. These are both 200. One's an estimate and one's an EMA. So they're both 200 moving averages. And so we're continuing to build a base here above this buying 1-day time block. This one seems more so bullish. Um, like just outright, right? Based on the technicals. This one, IWM, SPY. I'm just watching this because I feel like, it might invalidate these puts. We're in a buying above the 200 here. Beautiful buy off of previously high. So, data dropping in the next 47 seconds. I always expect a little bit of a pullback here, you guys, so if you're in calls, take profit. I absolutely expect a pullback here to retest one of these 200 moving averages. Same thing here. Successful break above and then just retest and then maybe more upside here. And then here you have push. But if you stay above this 4-hour level, and we're also above previous day high, yeah, look at VWAP opened above this 4-hour level here. And you can look at the news and see what came after. So, oh, it came in slightly lower, but still green. So it was forecast at 4.2 million, but existing home sales came in almost like 1.2 million lower. But I think it came green. But the thing is showing green. Existing home sales month over month is down a negative 2.4% though, compared to forecast 0.7. Wow, Gino. Alright, I'm gonna have to go check on it. I will be right back. Oh, I apologize. Of course it disconnected while I walked away. Alright, let's get back into the game. Life is life and for me to die. Alright, let's see what they decide to do. I think, yeah, for me, it was just, yeah, I did not reach for 5 minutes. So I don't understand anything else. The way it was just 5 minutes. We have a nice buy above both of these 200 EMAs on QQQ. Haven't had that pullback yet, but I do anticipate a little bit of retesting of big four and or the VWAP before we get more upside, but we're still bullish. We'll put the drop you guys back down to smaller time frame. Let's see what's happening on the 5 minute. We had to break out to the upside and prep to the upside. We built the base above 50% of that gap. And if you want to look at a lower time frame here, as long as you stay above this 8, you can continue to stay bullish for QQQ. I anticipate that we're going to kind of continue some upside here and just really test those 30% stop loss levels for push. VWAP did open above this 4-hour buy level, so I kind of do treat it like a candle. Here we're rejecting, off of this 300 level, this 3-month 300% level. Let's just see how much it drops from there. So this was at 296. Let's see if it drops $1. Let's see. Um, the first time it touched the 300% level, it dropped like $6, and then after that, it would drop like $2. But this is like maybe the fifth or sixth time it's touched that level, and here you can see it's holding up. And I think on other 300% levels too, we try to build a base above here. Yeah, the 200 moving average we like, a little bit more upside here. They say the month of July tends to be pretty bullish. We tend to end strong. So let me go ahead and delete this so you can see what's happening with the wick. I'm just going to journal a little bit. So I did like 3 big no-nos. um, and we go back to do another one. I need to be smart here. We do have rejection off of the 200 here, IWM. Hold on. How come you're not showing up? Oh, here we go. So we're kind of, this is what I anticipate is going to happen with, well, we did satisfy 300% though. But see how we are breaking above these stop loss levels? That's what I think is going to happen with this. You might break above these stop loss levels. But if you get back down in your first time, why not? I think it's going to entertain some one lot much. This is a 1 day zone. Oh, possibly two. We could just be testing these buy levels off the 1 day buying block and then have more upside. So I'm just going to sit on my hands a little bit. Kind of mess myself up a little bit here. We're rejecting off of this stop loss level here. QQQ, we opened below the 8 on the lower time frame for the first time, but just be cautious here. It does not necessarily mean we're bearish. It's just the beginning of a snowball effect. And we still have kind of bearish, we still have green zone above or below. This is still kind of like bearish territory. And then even lower time frame here, we could open below. We had some pressure at the downside here. Here. You don't necessarily want to enter on a 1 minute. I just want to start to see the snowball effect. This is where it's going to start to show up on QQQ. Where we start to have a little bit more downside. There is that attempt to retest off of these levels here on QQQ. All three are moving to the downside at the same time, but we might have a bounce off of this here, off of this 200 moving average. Let's just see how quickly buyers step in, especially given that above this 1 day buy zone in terms of IWM. see if buyers start to step in off of that level there. Oh, there's very low volume though on puts on QQQ. Very low volume on puts. So just be careful. That's usually like a clue that you don't want to be in that put. You don't want to be in that put. Oh yeah, yeah. The ooh, that was cool to see. A lot of the here we go. We have a lot of volume at 7:15 on QQQ. We have buyers stepping in off of VWAP. Let's see if we get a little bit more of a bounce here. I'm gonna try some puts, you guys, on QQQ. Ooh. I think the one that's more likely to go to more upside is IWM. That being said, QQQ has a put here, but you know how they feel about shorting on the Qs lately? Mm, this one looks like we might test the 8. A little bit of buyer stepping in here at the 4 level and holding its position at the VWAP, which is a major level. And here they're buying up beautifully off of this 200 moving average. QQQ losing volume really quick, losing momentum really quickly. Let's see, they're starting to fall below this 50% level here. We're starting to sell off really quickly. We're starting to see also the bears that were at the 200% level on the 3 month step in and sell off. We also see some sellers stepping in here on SPY. So at this point, all three are looking at some downside. Let's just see what happens when we close this gap here. And then now we're below this 4-hour level. off, and then looks like we're going to try to get a gap fill. Hopefully you're selling off. We didn't even have any buyers try to step in here off the previous high. Walking here with a terrible fail. I took out my little coins though. Oh. I still have a gap down here. Another gap down here. A little bit of buyers stepping in here below. After we just say hi, which I like to see that just a little bit. But if we continue to have candle closes below this 8 EMA here and below previous day high, then I feel like we're going to try to satisfy the push to the downside from SPY. From pre-market, we also might have a little bit of a reattempt of this gap fill. There were some orders here that formed. Volume kind of push over the downside here on QQQ. You can get a little bit of a start to break a little bit. See what's happening on the higher time frame. You have buyers who step. Oh, there we go. That's what we're looking. That's what. Now this is interesting. We have a 1-day gap. Let's go ahead. I'm not sure why I missed that, but we should cap up. And so you have a whole bunch of orders down here that need to be filled. Ooh, y'all, I think I'm gonna do something. Okay. Kind of buying up off of that level. I have a little bit of we're going to have that. There's a little bit of a bounce here off of this base. Let's see what it does with this gap. We'll try to hold until we get to 50% of this level here. Try to go to that hill. All three are falling. this is we're gonna try to hit 100. I mean, 100%. We're gonna try to hit. Yeah, we're kind of bouncing off of this 4. Not a lot of people use the 4, but I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback just because this 8 is pretty strong level. But the goal is going to be to try to engage with this 50% level here, at least on the daily. So the practice your risk management. If you're not already in puts, you can wait for a retest back into this level here. But yeah, you can see how we. And then here on SPY, if you get some candle closes below this 8 and below previous day high, you can go ahead and satisfy these orders to push to the downside. They tested the stop losses, and then you have people that are diamond handing those puts, and they're going to try to satisfy those levels. Okay. Oh, dear Lord. Thank you for my daily bread, and I tell you, I really was sweating some bullets, and I will take what I can get. And I'm thankful for another green day, Lord. You gotta worry about me. We haven't really. Oh, wait. 7:21. I'm sorry, guys. So I thought I heard something. So on here, we have what's the downside? We had a bounce off of, but you know what? There's a small gap down there, and it's just kind of causing a little bit of a tight spot here. But this is that confirmation I was telling you guys that I would be waiting for push to the downside here. It's a little tricky, but we are bouncing off of the 200 on the 3 minute. You can wait for retest and then a wick and a break below here, and then look for more downside. It's on lower time frames. You're just looking for that snowball effect to the downside. So wait till you get some type of confirmation to the downside here. It's bouncing just like it does across every time frame off of these 200s on the 3 minute. Okay. Wait for confirmation to the downside here. This is basically got into the gap, retest or retesting, and then probably might have a rejection. This is a 4 and an 8, so you might have those in the rejection now off of the 8. People like the 8 and the 9. Now here, buyers hella like strong here back into this 1 day buying block. That was the confirmation they needed, that retest level, and then buying above this 200. I did talk about how I feel like this one is the most bullish of them all. Remember we talked about this 300% take profit level that every time it hits, um, let me see, so here's 296. This is about a $1 drop. So every time we touch this 300% level on the 3 month level, on the 3 month time frame, so it went from like $6 to like $2, and now it's like a $1 drop. So we're buying up off of the fourth, building a base above this slow or this slow EMA, slow moving average, and then this is the 200 moving average. These are both 200, but I like to have both because people play both sides, and I want to know. I want to know. Here we go. We have a little bit of rejection off of the four here, and so then once you start to see a strong wick to the downside here, it's a little bit of a tricky zone because this one is one to talk about that, but we see a tiny little gap down here on top of this gap here that they might want to fill on QQQ. Even though we had a little bit of a sell-off here, we have buyers stepping in off the previous day high. say thank you, Lord, for all. Oh, but you know what? I haven't sold this contract yet. No wonder I haven't sold this contract yet. And that's going to affect my take profit, isn't it? It doesn't hit until, damn it. Um, so we're kind of invalidating on this 3 minute time frame. A little bit of invalidation of the push on the 3 minute. We are getting close to 7:30, and so one of the notes I had made to myself is that when we're getting close to that 1 hour, I want to wait for the 5 minute confirmation. And this is an example that we did not quite hit 50% of this gap, which is so annoying, right? But we must engage with it to some degree or level. They're just going to decide, this is going to decide when, see how we're reacting exactly to that 50% level here? Going to decide if they're going to troll or not. And so we're, very tricky. But this is the volatility that if you're not over trading, um, here we go. So we're breaking above this 300% level. Expect a little bit of a pullback here at this the EMA, 200 EMA here. But given that we're breaking out of this one day buying block, 296, so we're up $1 from this one day buying block. Anticipate we're going to have a way more upside on IWM, like if you were considering calls to the upside. Um, let's look at it on the 4 hour. We have invalidated the put zone that we had here. And then in terms of the daily, beautiful buy up out of this zone. You said we had on the 30 minute time frame at some point we had calls there as well. Only thing I'm careful of, just paying attention to, is that we did have prep to the downside yesterday on and so it's kind of re-entering that zone where we haven't quite had a crossover or prep to the upside, but we are coming out of a bullish zone here. We just be cautious. I feel like the consolidation, well, there's a lot of consolidation there. But beautiful buys here off of previous day high and continuing to break to the upside here for the 4 hours. Buying up off of the 8. Looks like they're rejecting the idea of puts here for the buy. Look at that, we opened right below that 50% level. So I talked about how we're either going to build a base and go to the upside or we're going to build a base and go to the downside. Looks like here, this is going to stay below the VWAP, at least on the 5 minute time frame, right? And below the 8. We did open below this, yeah, that's the case. We did open below this 50% consequent encroachment line, and now I'm like, but it looks like he's trying to buy it back up. They did fail just slightly ever below it, but if they had opened up here again, I would be looking for a little bit more reversal, but kind of buying up this 4 EMA here. Oh no! Oh snap! gonna finish journaling. Really kind of engage with this lower half of this gap, but that level's being bought right back up. Yeah. See what it does in the next 15 minutes here. I mean, five in the next 50 seconds here. See what buyers stepping in. We continue to hold above this 4-hour level here. Fine. So yeah, but that $1 move out of the 10-day buying zone. We have like I think that, a little bit of consolidation here. I mean, if you look at it in terms of like those lines, people like these, you still have a little bit of lows here. Still have sell-off here. Okay, we had a second reopen below that 8. Second reopen below VWAP on the lower time frame, and that second open below the custom equipment here on this gap. Buyers are stepping back in, but see what they do here. Oh, I could go finish doing my makeup. So buying that level right back up. Still saying, so what the VWAP here? Engaging with that 8 PMA on the 5-minute time frame. We're just watching the 5 here just to see, because on the lower time frames you kind of get an idea if it's going to break to the upside. I will show you on the 1 hour though. On the 1 hour, and this is the thing. So on the 1 day time frame, we had this bigger gap, right? But on the 1 hour, you can see that the gap was smaller, and we bought right back up off of that level. We didn't even fill this 1 hour gap here. But on the 1 day, you can see that we we tried to go for 50%, but we bounced off of the 4. I always say this all the time. A lot of people don't like to buy the 4. I mean, use the 4, but you'll love it. Here on this higher time frame on the day, you can see that we're still on this lower half of this gap from up here below, up here. And if we break back down here, and I anticipate we're going to get that. We're selling off pretty quickly here. And now in terms of the 15-minute, these are buy levels that are strategically right in this gap. But if we invalidate it, there was a VWAP gap here that it has satisfied a couple of times for the market. So if we invalidate this bullish zone, then you might get that completion of the fill the gap down here. The thing about the Qs is that I feel like the energy behind that is that they tend to be very bullish. They're not, amenable to puts. They're like the bears, and they're like, no, we're gonna hit this to the moon kind of thing. Same time too, they could be buying kind of. Let me show you what I'm looking at here on the 1 hour. They're trying to look for pre-buying levels, right? So in terms of bigger picture, here's the 200 moving average, the slow moving average, and the exponential moving average. And so you can see that we were bullish. We gapped up, as a matter of fact, and then we are attempting to break to the upside off of these 200, these are major levels. And so with this 8 as well, we're wanting more upside. We have buyers aggressively stepping in here. That being said, we have an unsatisfied VWAP gap here that must be dealt with. On the lower time frame, because we're just starting to buy up above that 50% level there. The other ETFs are bullish as well too, so that's going to give me an idea that overall we're just really, really good and green. We're holding above this buy above level here, not just for this. This was a bearish zone, so we invalidated it, and we broke out of this one-day buying zone, so I need to get more upside. But the thing is, this major level, you can see we're just kind of, I've mentioned it before, every time we hit this level, it's been like a $6 drop, $2 drop, but it looks like they're going to try to build a base above here. Yeah, now in terms of here, we're trying to build above that, to the upside of that block, right? So on the 15-minute, you can see buyers continue stepping off of this buying block here, and I want to bring to the upside above VWAP and above the 8. Are they going to be able to do it, y'all? Ooh, but why am I hungry? Let me go pack my vitamins. I'm probably going to go do my makeup. Like, I just use land stuff, like, just to survive. And then sometimes if I'm, like, done trading, I'll go do my makeup a little bit more. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Buyers stepping in right here. We're still kind of, like, testing stop losses here for beautiful buys. Let's look at the 4 hour because this is giving very nice. We here buys on the previous day. Ooh, a little bit of sell off. We do have a crossover. I anticipate with this candle close, we might get perhaps back to the upside here. They do say June tends to be bullish. You tend to end the month bullish. So we've got some, but the stats show it. I mean, they have a lot of graphs and stuff going. Here we're starting to get that first snowball effect to the upside that we want upside. I am sleepy, hungry, mopey, dopey. Uh, ooh, part of it yesterday too. I think I didn't use my glasses yesterday, but I need to start using my glasses like even in the morning too, because I'm on a computer and a lot. Sorry, still. Okay, guys. Now here on the 1 hour, let me show you guys on the 1 hour. Let me show you what we're looking at here. A little bit of a choppy zone. It's slowly building its case to the upside, buying off of VWAP, buying off the 200 above this buy above level, thinking about this 1 day block, buying block. And so it might be a slow grind up. Looks like we had 30-minute block for calls to the upside here. So when it enters that zone, let's look and see. If we, let me show you something. We are invalidating the puts here. Oh, but 30 minutes. Okay, but you know what? And I think it might have been blocked here, but if you break above this, then you're going to, you never satisfy that 30-minute calls that were here. People were feeling bullish here. The setup was here. And so If you break above here, then you can have, it's like a 10-day. Falls to the upside from the market. Satisfied. We saw the same thing too with QQQ. Ooh, QQQ is failing to. Nope, let's see what happens in the 30 seconds. It's trying to break to the upside. It might just be QQQ. It's trying to break to the upside and stay above this consequent placement here. Let's see what happens in the next 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we just got into the fall to the upside. I feel like that'd be a safe trade here on IWM. Let me open it up so you can kind of see when you hit 30% and ooh, 50% there. Only thing is, I like to see a block. There we go. Beautiful. Not today. Anytime we hit 50%, there's a little bit of pullback. We just scale. Hit 100% here. Beautiful. Okay, I took a little bit of a pullback here. Beautiful. We had a surge of fire. Beautiful. Okay. And this is also that 15-minute confirmation outside of the one-day block. I'm going to write this to myself. I'm glad I saw it. So I'm going to make a big note to myself. So one-day block. And then we wait for the 15 minutes. Did we have a lower entry call? We didn't. Yeah, we had a 15-minute and this popped up at 7:47. So that's important. That's true. I feel like I should have been like waiting for lower time frame confirmation. Point is to not be greedy. I'm gonna make a note to myself. It went from 30 to 100% in 1 minute. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna start to get lower time frame confirmations above this level to the upside. Let me see that I'm still running. Yeah, as long as we, so then on the lower time frames, as long as we stay above this 8, the purple is the 4. Oh yeah, you might have a little bit of a retest here into this bullish buying zone here, but for sure, I would say when you get a 3-minute confirmation to the upside for entry, that's going to be safe. So like as long as we have the 15-minute, the 3 minutes should be fine. 5 minutes And P should be fine as well too. Let me go past my vitamins. Wow. So, and here I'm keeping on the 1 hour. I can sit on the big screen too, but we are pretty much bullish here. And so once we start to break above this level here on the 1 hour, and then, we have not price. We have buyers at the top 50% level here of this gap. Oh, let me show you. Let me see. Am I still? Let me see if you guys can still hear me here. Did I take the sound off? Because I'm watching it while I'm putting my watch on the 1 hour, on the 1 hour, we are trying to buy up off of those 200. So I'm gonna leave this here because I feel like this might give you a better perspective of what's happening, and then you can always look on your computer sort of know what's happening. But we're wanting to buy to the upside. Um, so obviously, if you break below the 200 and get lower price range there, as well. And we also have this VWAP gap, like I said, that needs to be dealt with. Things you might not want to do it today. Save it for another day. Hey, but we're gonna have a good day. Alright, I'm gonna leave this here. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. I'll keep the mic on while I'm filling up my vitamins for breakfast. I put up you guys on the 1 hour on everything. You can see the buyers are strong. Could I keep you guys on the 1 hour? Um, Same thing you're seeing on QQQ SPY, you're going to see that on IWM too on the 1 hour, but I'm keeping it on the 15 minutes because that's where the alert fires. I don't know why we a little bit of stagnant energy we have. We're coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll expect a little bit more movement Alright, sorry about that. Thursday is Thursday, and as you can see, we're holding really well on IWM. I will caution you, like, just because of how I see this work, we haven't quite had a retest of this APM here. We did retest this 200 though, so let's put this on the 5 minute because we might get confirmation on the 5 for upside and on the 3 minute. I feel like you can take that with confidence. We have another breakout forming here. Here we're trying to just hold above this 200 moving average. This is the slow. This is the fast. This is the EMA. This is the SMA 200. Kind of fly above this level here. Here we're going to test the stop losses on the puts. But we had beautiful buy off of the previous day high here. Let's see What are we doing on time? What time is it? 58. Okay, so and I just took care of some stuff. Beautiful buys here. Starting to break above this level here. We haven't really had any confirmation though. Let's see what happened on the 15 minute. We didn't even have, this looks different on the 15 minute, doesn't it? We didn't even have any, but if you might get definitely a breakout here. It looks so much different on the 15 minute. When I'm gonna watch this and be like, oh my gosh. But yeah, anticipate trying to get confirmation for SPY for call to the upside here. Kind of opening that forward. There it is. There it is. On the 30 minute. I was like, we are building a base. So on the 30 minute, we just got that entry for pause. Might test the stop losses a little bit, but we are feeling bullish overall. SPY is nice and consistent, and so the goal would be calls. As long as for me, I like to stay above the 8. The 8 is the blue. I like to stay above the 4, but we might test the stop losses a little bit. If you're watching on your low time frame, you might want to just mark these levels. But as long as we start to break out above this level right here on the lower time frames, then I anticipate more upside on SPY. Did we have the top of the hour? Yeah, we did. Um, we did open above VWAP here on the 1 hour, so just slightly below the exponential 200 EMA and slightly above the 200 SMA. Lower time frames here, we're wanting some more upside. Didn't quite get confirmation that I was thinking we would get, but we're continuing to stay above the 8 here, above the 8 on the 5 minute, and staying above the 8. There was a pullback. The thing with this is there's always some type of pullback for VWAP at the top of the hour. This one opened right at it. VWAP is quite a ways down here on IWM. Oh, just a little bit nervous, right? So they're gonna try to either touch, touch something like either VWAP or the 8, and this is kind of like a trampoline to 300% level where we're gonna take a little bit of this, might retest this 300 level and then decide to build a base off of it. Didn't quite open above the 200 like they would have wanted to. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of what you're picking up on there. Oh, wait. Yes, SPY is the one that gave me entry the positive upside. So I'm gonna leave that here. Um, I'm just thinking, y'all. I have to go to my 9 to 5 and I'm annoyed. I am annoyed. So, let me just show you real quick what's happening on the 1 hour here. But I want to leave it on the 30 minute. This is where having the indicator would come in handy for you, just because if you wanted to, you can open up a 30 minute and a 1 hour to just kind of see how they're playing off of each other. But for the most part, on the 30 minute time frame, it's a little bit longer to play out. But you kind of know, okay, when you start to get, you know, lower time frame confirmations above this level here, then you can start to look for some calls and stuff. I'm hungry. Have some buyers trying to step back in here. I'm not sure. I think this is the best setup here for you guys to look at. So I'm pretty sure when I touch my computer at work, it's going to reset for you guys. I wonder if I could just go ahead and log it off. I think I'm just going to log it off because there's no point in having it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. There's no point in it getting fired over there, and then you guys are just going to be left with a screen where you can't really see anything because it'll connect to that one. I'll take care of that. I'll work on it. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow.